X-Harp here, WWE 2k19. We are going to do an for life review. I'm going to show you today my nWo stable. I've almost finished it all off. I just need to do the statistics for all of the wrestlers, but we're getting real close now to actually finalizing the whole stable. So I'm just going to show you where we're at. I'm going to show you where I'm up to and how they look, how they feel, and then give you some hints and tips on how you can make your nWo look the same. Now, here's the nWo. That's like the stable overall. Please ignore the overall score. I have not gone through all of the guys in this roster to do the ratings yet, so that score will probably rise significantly into the sort of low to mid 90s, I imagine, based on the rankings that I've given each one of them in my list. If you want to see that list where I have revealed every single WWE 2K roster member and my WWE Universe Mode ranking and rating, I should say, you can go and check that out on my Instagram at xharper.co, on Instagram. There's highlights on Twitter, but I would go to Instagram because I've got the whole list. I've made loads of graphics for each wrestler. You'll be able to see straight away who is my greatest wrestler of all time. Woo! And then you'll be able to go down the list all the way through my top 100. So actually, not every person on WE2K is on that list. I have got all of them currently being made, though, so I will reveal all of the complete roster in time. But I've also got stables that I'm going to reveal on there. But for now, nWo, you'll be able to see they're basically all of them are in my top 25 wrestlers of all time. So if you won't have to scroll too much through all of my feed to find that out, but it's a really helpful tool for you to be able to know how you wrestler in your universe mode. And I rate them out of 4 areas. So it's like their physique, you've got their technical ability, their mic skills, and their character. I've got my own little algebraic equation is the best way of saying it, and it just works out their overall score out of 100 based on how I rate them as wrestlers, and then I've come out with the overall score that I give them in my universe mode, which I will be going through in another video. But for now, let's get into the nWo. Here are the way that I set my nWo up so that you guys can see Hollywood Hogan obviously leading the pack, Nash, Hall as the A-list backups, Randy Savage as the I'm best friends with Hulk Hogan, so let me in on your money kind of stable. He comes in at 4. Usually I put myself, not myself, I don't create X-Harper in wrestling. I have a custom wrestler that I create called Ghost, and so I always put him in as the 5th member. But what I do, Ghost wrestles in the WE, representing the nWo, and then these 4 originals then actually stay in WCW and wrestle there. But I like having the nWo represented in like both the top companies. So the way that I do that is just by saying that my character is the guy that gets the privilege. So the crowd reaction, boos, obviously. Tag team moves, I haven't set any up yet. I might look into that at some point, but for now it's not that important. The tag and trio entrance types, always make sure that they're together. The tag entrance settings, you can see that the outsiders take over. I think the outsiders setting works really well, to be honest with you, with all of them. And then you've got the tag entrance for the trio. Sorry, we're going to go into that now because I want to show you guys what this looks like, and also the thought process I had behind picking this entrance type for the nWo. It is pretty simple when you look at it, but it still needs a little bit of explanation for all of you. So we're going to wait for this to load. Again, the load times are so much better on this game than they have been in the past. I'm just like blown away every time that I see this game. It's been a lot better. It really has. I have been one of the most negative persons about negative people when it comes to WWE 2K games. I've absolutely hated some of the games that I wouldn't even call them games. They're so bad, but I've not been a fan, put it that way. And then this year, my hopes and dreams are coming slowly back into reality. I'm really stoked for 2K20, and I know that that's going to be like the stupidest thing you can say so early after this game, but with Hulk Hogan going to be back in. I imagine they're going to put the nWo entrance in, so that will make my universe mode a whole lot more fun for me. Anyway, here we go. Motion, generic trio 4. You can see the trio. They're walking down the ring. They look cool. They're flipping the nWo logo symbols, blah, blah, blah. Or actually, what was it? I think it was actually some Swedish biker gang. And Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, the Click, started flipping it up to each other. It was just a gang sign. That's all it was. It was like a biker gang sign or something. So, just a wolf. With that little tidbit of information, obviously I don't like the fact that Scott Hall does the AJ Styles. Generic Trio 4, I'm assuming, is the club with AJ Styles. But it works really well. Because obviously they're flipping the two sweets. So, it just gives them a level of authenticity. The only thing I don't like is how happy Hulk Hogan is. I would love to have seen him a little bit cockier, a little bit more arrogant, but it's honestly fine. I can deal with it because of the fact that they're doing the two sweet logos. I do not like that little Hogan did then. I would love it if they slowed this entrance down by 0.5 of a second. Half a second slowdown would make this whole thing look like they're cocky, arrogant wrestlers. And actually, I'd love to see that addition feature in next year's game. Wouldn't it be cool if you could actually slow down the time that it takes to get to the ring, or speed it up? That'd be quite funny, especially with big head mode. I'm sure that'd create some fun moments. But the idea of slowing time, slowing the entrance, it would add another level of customization without having to actually change all of the elements. But it would just give this overall look and feel that would actually change the way the game looks. Half a second slower, this would look like the most cocky, arrogant entrance that you could find, and all of a sudden the fist bumping wouldn't look so powerful. It would look more sort of cocky and slow, like Hogan actually used to do. Not that it will matter next year, but that kind of thing would be a cool addition to me. Music Outsiders, Titantron movie Outsiders, Ribbon movie nWo. Everything else I turn off. Because the nWo simply were back in time. I just do that to make sure that when they're in my WCW arena, that there are no extra hidden surprises and extra colour added like there is on this Raw arena. The blue, the red and the white, sorry, it annoys me. Shouldn't be there, but it is. The cast, you can see I've got Hogan first, Nash second, Hall third, just so that you know the order. I think Hogan in the trio should always be the centre of attention. He was anyway, so it makes sense. Plus, he didn't like going up the top ropes and stuff. He liked staying with his feet grounded. So for me, it works better for him to be on the mat and on the floor rather than up the turnbuckles running around like a headless chicken. So, that's done. Let's go now. I'm going to take you out of here completely. Just going to take one more look actually at all the editable parts for the tag to make sure that I've let you know. Okay, so the victory motion, tag victory 1 and 2, which is strange because I'm pretty sure that I did the Outsiders for the tag, so I'm going to go into this. Maybe I missed it, but I'm pretty sure I put the Outsiders. Maybe it just didn't save for some reason. But obviously you want some sort of nWo-esque celebration. It may not actually be an option. I think for the title, you don't get an Outlaw, the Outsiders option, which is a shame because the Outsiders are on the game. I really don't understand why every tag team that's on the game doesn't actually have their own celebration. So, if we go to the motion for the generic tag, let's just see if the Outlaws are on here. There they go. Sorry, I keep saying the Outlaws. Okay, so there you go. Simple as. Now, the only thing I change here, of course, I never use them as a face, but let's just change that as well. The title motion graphic, let's just go into that. You see, they don't have any, so this I find works best. I don't use the face one, but I am actually going to change it to 4 just in case. And I do that in case the game for some reason changes their status with the fans. At least I always know they're going to look like heels. And that one looks great. real generic, but it looks great for these two. Obviously, usually my tag team is the Outsiders, but with the NWO, I use the Freebird rule in my universe, so any of them can team up with one another and beat and claim to be the tag team champions. The victory music, do you know what? I'm not even sure that I actually changed this one at all. I really should have, because that's unlike me to leave those out. Oh, also what I found was that the entrance, the victory scenes now, I don't know if this was on the game last year, but there's a none option so that you can make sure that it's authentic to the entrance and just mirrors their entrance. So if you don't like having like the stage and everything lit up when they've won a match, you can just go to none, and that's a great way of just selecting it. Obviously I must have forgot this one, I'm so sorry. This is typical me, not planning before I do something like go online and share things with people, but hey, we're learning at the same time. The other thing I would do, I'm happy keeping those positions, I think, with the cast. Although I kind of like Hogan. Oh, this is the wrong time to have regret. But I'm kind of thinking that I should have switched Hogan over. So that was the tag victory motion. Yeah, I really don't understand, because I did actually go through and change all of this before I did anything. So I'm not quite sure why it didn't save. Maybe I didn't actually press option button before I left to start this video. We will find out in a minute, because I'm about to take you into the trio to find out how the trio react when they win a match. Obviously this is, again, is going to be a little bit different from the way that the NWO would act. I really just can't wait till next year, because this is the one team that I do not like playing around with yet. I don't know whether that's a glitch, but I definitely went through all of this and changed it, so be careful of that. It may just be that I was slow and I need to make sure that I actually save it, but from what I understand, I had saved it. This is the strangest entrance ever for those guys. What I'm basically looking for are the guys flipping the Too Sweet logo. If they do that, it's a guaranteed for me. Perfect. So for this one, I'm actually going to use the club. But what I am going to do is switch. You could see that Nash and Hall kind of look like their roles were switched. So that looks much better. I'm going to use that. I was hoping to do a quicker video today, but actually you guys are stuck with my stupid voice for a little bit longer. Let's see here. Again, like I said, just setting everything to none, making sure that it all mirrors precisely what I want the celebration to look like compared to the way that the entrance looks. I just really like the entrance, the beginning and the finale of every match to be as accurate to real life as possible, but also to look the way that I want it to look. So, are you finished? Yes. Okay, so that should be it now. I should have done all of their scenes. I'll just hold on a few seconds for you, just so you can see all of those options once more on what I've done. So you've got poo, 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 poo. Okay, my bad. It's 12:37. I woke up about half an hour ago, so please forgive me for these moments of old people. I'm 33 now. I'm getting old, so it's hard to remember to do certain things, like do what I should be doing and doing it well. Okay, so I go back in here. I'm going to change this all out. There's the got the victory music. It's just the heel. Change it to the club. The club look great, except that's perfect. Obviously, like I said before, it's always about making sure that the NWO, especially with the fact that you've got the current roster actually doing the Too Sweet flips, it just helps to add it onto the game now and make sure that the NWO have it. So that's it. You've got the club, the Outsiders for the tag victory motion, trio generic, trio 4, trio entrance tied together, blah, blah, blah. You can read all of this. If you can't, I don't know how you're on YouTube anyway, so here we go. That's that done. Now what I'm going to show you, just to finish this off, yes, I want to save that in my universe mode. I am going to show you my superstars. So, all I'm going to do is show you the attires that I give the nWo in-game. So they're all under alternate. There's a bit of a glitch in the game at the moment where you don't see the actual attire. Like, I've set these as the default attires for the nWo in my universe mode, but when you preview stuff, it still takes you back to their original outfits that they start the game before you've even sort of taken it out of the box. And that's not good. I want to be able to see them in their current gear. Unfortunately, the only way you can do that right now is by playing an actual match, winning the match, and then you get to see them in the outfits that you've created. Anyway, without further ado, let's send you over to Scott Hall and show you what his outfit looks like. Okay, here's my Scott Hall. You can see black and white straight away. So what I did, I deleted the nWo trunks that Scott Hall wears. I added, I think they were actually Roddy Piper's blue trunks, and I just added them in black. And then I went on the internet, the glorious place that is the internet, found the fonts, or at least a close font to the Hall font that he used to have, and added it, and then created the text in Photoshop, sent it over to Image Uploader, and then when I uploaded it, I was pleasantly surprised at how beautiful it actually looks. Okay, little tidbit for you here. Hall usually has a capital H, a small a small L, and a small L. But I didn't like it. I didn't think it looked good, but I wanted to be authentic, so I thought I'm going to do it unless I can find a capital, an all caps Hall branding on his shorts. I did find one. It was at the beginning of his reign in The Outsiders. It wasn't in black and white. It was when he wore red trunks with black text. But I didn't want to do that alternate attire at all. So I was happy just knowing that he has had all caps before, and that is the one I prefer. The Too Sweet has always been all caps, but that looks great. I think that's one of my favourite ever alternate designs that I've done, because I don't usually spend that much time actually on alternate attires, but this year, I think because I'm enjoying the game so far, I really feel like I'm going to get into the game a lot more. And so I just feel like I really want this to be as authentic as possible, and especially with the fact that I've created a bunch of actual WCW arenas, I'm just like, let's go all the way in with this and have full authenticity. So let's just go back to that. You saw Scott Hall's. Now let's go into the Macho Man madness that is Randy Savage. Oh yeah! I think everybody has to do that impression once in their life. It should be written in law somewhere. So here you go. Here's my Macho Man, Randy Savage. Now what I did, the boots and the trousers, as we call them in England, but I mean his pants, his wrestling tights. His wrestling tights are defaults on the game. His boots are his like the bonus content that you get, the Randy Savage 1992, I think it is. So I just switched those out for black and white. He did have the lightning strikes. They weren't like this. They were a bit more intense, but these were close enough that when I looked at it, I was like, this looks kind of cool. His outfit on the top, he wears that weight buff, that power lifter's belt or whatever they call it. He wears that in black with this attire from what I've seen on the network, so on WE Network. Like I said, I go and check everything I do on the network just to make sure it's actually real. It's how they used to dress and all that kind of thing. The top I actually downloaded from another person's Macho Man Randy Savage creation. It was a terrible Randy Savage. They basically made their own from scratch. It didn't look like the one on the game, but what they did do, logos on that were the Macho Madness authentic ones. So I just downloaded it, that guy, deleted it, kept all of the PNG files or all the picture files, and then just uploaded them all here. So again, I use the Booker T Harlem Heat hat. That's the one that sticks to his head. I found out, I actually didn't know those glasses were Randy Savage's when he was in the nWo. So that's really cool that they've left that on the game. And those are all in the generic parts that you can find all of this. And I loved it, so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to keep it like that. I think he looks really cool. That's his, obviously, entrance attire. His ring attire is just on the right next to him, where he's basically just topless apart from everything else and the headgear. So that is my Macho Man. The only problem is I can't change some of these elements that you can see in front of you. I think you can change them in universe mode, like the crowd reaction. I think you might be able to change the side plates. I'm not sure about the signs, but I'm not too bothered about the signs because ultimately they are Macho Man's signs. I just wish I could throw an nWo logo in there or two. So next up, of my nWo stable, we're halfway there in terms of showing you the outfits. We're probably 3/4 of the way through the video, so I'm probably going to be another 5 minutes going through the final stuff. Now, let's go back to alternate. Kevin Nash, one of my faves. I enjoyed doing these outfits for Kevin Nash. This was a fun one because I really wanted to challenge myself to add the branding that Nash used to have. When I was growing up as a kid, I had an N64, I had WCW nWo Revenge, which was one of my favourite wrestling games of all time. Even though it's so basic and so simple to play, it was a phenomenal game. Shout out to THQ Man, who was one of my favourite jobbers on that game. Anyway, this was the outfit that he wore back in like '98. It is more of a popular one for him. It was kind of when he was the world champion that he started wearing this outfit. I created it, had to do loads of work on Photoshop to try and get it as realistic as possible. Yes, the font could be a little bit thinner. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I've looked at as many pieces of footage as I can on the network of this to make sure I get it right. Apart from that, everything else is pretty much accurate. Well, it is accurate, and I think what really convinced me was the way that he looks with the jacket on for the entrance arena, because when I went into the network, they looked almost identical. The only thing I haven't done with Nash is I didn't give him his he had highlighted hair at this point and went quite blonde, but I've just left that because I spent maybe an hour highlighting the Brutus the Barber Beefcake's hair to get him to look like the Disciple, and I'm not willing to go through that struggle again. I am not a hairdresser, and I feel like you need to be if you're going to start doing highlights on this game, because it is so hard to add dye when it's highlights. They actually, 2K, if you're listening, you should be adding highlights to the hair dye area. It's something that just gives nice little highlights that are consistent, that don't look like somebody has just been spraying a spray can on somebody's head on and off for about half an hour. It just doesn't look good and it doesn't look authentic. But I'm happy with the outfits, as you can see. He has got another outfit. I'm going to see if you can see. There you go. So I did just a standard all black with the nWo logo on his top. That's all right. You know, it's okay. I'm probably never going to use it, but I just figured I've got these 2 slots that I'm going to use. It just gives me more options, and red seems to be on both of his outfits, so I thought I'd do one that had no colour in, so that I can use that as an option if I have like these triple tag team matches that I'm going to be doing on my universe mode. So that is Nash done. Finally, the immortal one. Ooh, brother, Hulk Hogan. Let's go and look at what he looks like. My gosh, this one took a while. But I've actually reviewed him before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on Hulk Hogan. I really want to keep this under 25 minutes, but it depends on these loading times. Come on. This is the longest load time on the game that I've noticed, is when you finalize the character. It seems to take a long time to sort of load everything back up, but it's easy to get to. And by the way, forgive me, not all my characters are done yet, so don't judge. I'm letting you guys see behind the scenes, so don't judge me for this stuff, please. Here's Hulk Hogan. I've done a video on him before, you can go and view him, but basically I use the face scan from another great guy who you can go and download from. Don't know his name, but he's done a great job, or she, I don't know. They did a great job, but I've changed the outfit, I've changed his body structure, I've changed even his head. as well. I've done the face deform and all that sort of stuff. I think that now, and his hair color. So I've basically changed everything other than the face scan that this guy did, but he did a great job because the face scan is really clean. It's arguably it's probably the best Hulk Hogan, or best looking Hulk Hogan I've had. Last year's was good, but I think I've topped it this year, and that is in part thanks to the great face scan that guy did, as well as a couple of the logo elements on the boots. I never get those logo elements, so he did a great job with those, or she. I did the other logos. I've got the pant logos for the tights, and then I also do the logo on the back of his powerlifting belt as well. I also do, you'll see in the background, this logo here on Hollywood Rules. I do that. So I did that logo. I give him the necklace. He doesn't wear a black necklace. It's gold, but I think that the black one, I think he did wear a black one once, and so I was justified in having black. And then again, I used a logo that was offered on the community creations for his hat. But again, the hint for you, use Harlem Heat hat for Hulk Hogan and just fully black it out. Maybe even throw a shape over the top of the flames if you don't want the flames to be seen. But I personally don't mind, because I think the white Hollywood and the white logo actually sort of distracts you from noticing all of that. So that's it. That's my nWo stable. They will be dominating WCW for the next year of my WWE2k game. I've no doubt Hogan's going to win the title way too much. I don't know why it's asking me to save. I didn't change anything. But that's it. Have fun. I hope you enjoy playing this game as much as I'm enjoying creating content for it. Hit me up on Twitter at xharperco. Hit me up on Instagram at xharper.co. And then if you want to message me on here on YouTube, do so. I will try and check what it all says, get back to you, respond to you, tell you how awesome you are for putting up with my ridiculous voice for 27 minutes of the 25 I was supposed to do. So thank you, and I will see you soon.